Right. Okay, we're live. So welcome to the Node.js package maintenance team meeting for February 17th, 2022. We'll follow the agenda in the issue that was created in the repo, which is issue number 511. Before we get started, does anybody have any announcements that they'd like to discuss? Okay, if not, let me just take a quick note there. No. This week, let's move on to the issues that were tagged for the agenda. The first one is 2022 promotion events. And I know, Pavel, you were looking at that one, so maybe you want to give us an update.
Yes, during the past week, I have submitted the talk. I don't have any updates from organizers, but wait for it. I talk about OpenJS world. And also I submit the paper for Holy.js conference. This is one of the biggest conferences in Russia, local conference in Russian. I have one talk with the program committee, but also there are no some kind of commitments, so on, so on, so on. But now my work in progress. I'm waiting for results from program committees, and also I cook some stuff for further events. I mean, I write draft of my paper, and I think that maybe in March we can talk about it.
Okay, sounds good. I'm just looking at the issue itself to see. So some of the promo activities you had, like an article, the talks, which you just gave us an update of, those were updated, and then a roundtable was the other one, where we were talking about, I think, getting some people together. Anything we should talk about on those sort of other aspects of the article or the roundtable?
I think we can. I decide that we can talk about roundtable after that conference's progress, but I think that we can talk about article after I can show my draft results with speech, because I think that article and conference talk can be very seamlessly, I think.
Okay, that makes sense. Sounds good. Any questions that people have before we move on to the next issue?
Sorry if I missed it. What were the topics submitted, or topic? Was it just about the group in general or a work item?
I think, Pavel, that was for you. It was just was what, in terms of the two talks you submitted, was it like a summary of, hey, here's the activities of the group, or something else in particular?
Sorry. Can you repeat what kind of topics?
I was curious what the description or the topics that you submitted, so that way someone doesn't resubmit for something you might have already submitted.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe you could post the
5 seconds.
Abstracts and titles in the issue itself.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I do it right now.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. And then I guess maybe this is more of a question for maybe Michael or Tierney, does the OpenJS like allocate time to working groups by default? If you have like maybe first come, first serve, or those have to be submitted to?
I don't think there's as far as I know, there's no formal thing, but Tierney, actually, maybe you've been more active in the selection.
Not this year, I haven't.
Okay.
I don't think that there is a formal, like, we'll give you talks for sure, but generally I've seen those get accepted, and like my perception has been that it's like, oh yeah, it's from the working group. Well, we can go ahead and find a spot for this.
Okay.
It has,
Cool.
that's been my perception. Whether or not that's the reality this year, I don't know, but I imagine something will get accepted. So
Maybe I was thinking more because is the Node.js comp still separate from OpenJS?
Yes.
Okay, so I remember they did that for they had like the maintainer days or sessions.
Collaborator Summit for sure.
Collaborator Summit separate. Yes,
Yeah, that'll definitely be a, if you're,
okay.
I'm pretty sure any working group can get a session, like a breakout session there. Absolutely.
Got it. I was conflating. Okay, makes sense. Cool. All right. Well, I'll see what Pavel submitted and see if there's anything good on top of that.
Because yeah, those are kind of two different things we should do. One is sort of the external, broader, like, hey, let's get people interested, and the other one is more like, can we get collaborators? The core, not the people who are already collaborating, more interested, involved, whatever, right?
Yeah, because I'm also trying to think of what's a good way, because I know like documentation is something we're probably more willing to share as opposed to like the early beta of the action that Dominicus has been working on. So we might have like two distinct, so don't want to publicize something we're not ready to share if we're just trying to keep it beta or something like that, because some of that stuff is cool, but I know we're just being more cautious around that. So don't want to blow up the spot too soon.
Yeah, I'll be submitting probably my own talk, and I'll probably be working in the action in there.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, beta. It is V1 from where I stand.
Okay.
There were discussions about not tagging it to V1 just yet, but from where I'm sitting, it's well from where I'm standing, I'm not sitting.
Yeah, I guess if you want to comment that, just so we don't get like double submissions, because I think that would be a great one to demonstrate.
Go ahead and submit whatever.
Well, you'd be a better authority on the actions one. I'd just be putting it out. So anyway, all sounds good. I'll go back on mute.
Okay, so the next issue was the team membership audit, 497. Now I think it was, so we actually have this open. Now where's sec? We had it's not necessarily linked in that issue, but we have another issue, which is the membership audit, please respond. And
sorry, that's the wrong link.
No, it's okay. I'm just trying to remember who was pushing that forward now. I think that was Manuel. Manuel had said he would sort of take the lead for completing that.
Yeah.
Mike, go ahead.
One thing I would like to poke at on this is I think I opened a discussion in core about automatically booting people from the org. And I think that having an extension of that, like reusing that same process for teams is probably a good thing. Like, sure, I think automated org-wide booting is fine, and like having it on a year and a half timeline of like, if you've not done anything, we're just going to boot you, is reasonable. But I think you can reuse that same logic to do like 6 months or whatever time frame we want to enforce. And I think minimizing duplication of this effort is probably smart. So if we want to do that, that also might be a way that this team can help implement it in the org. since that's probably an action that we could build, or not an action, but the script. Do we want to try to do this automatically rather than manually?
I'll add my 2 cents. Like, I'd agree if there was like a standard approach in the org, then that would be great. And like working groups could say, well, that applies to me, let's just inherit it. Or they could say, well, no, we've got some special reasons.
Yep.
That's just something different. But most likely, I think they would just be inherited. Your question about like, do we want to automate it? It's like, if somebody's got time to automate it, I think that's fantastic. This one was we know there's a lot of interest in the beginning. Many of those people haven't participated. So let's do a manual pass through and clean that up. But, from my perspective, if we had something to automation to turn on, I'd be +1 and we can ask what everybody else thinks. But I wouldn't tie this one to that. I think like we're well through this. Unless the automation is just already done, by the time this is ready, we should just land what we've got here and then use it the next time.
Sounds good.
Is that upstream discussion linked? Because I think maybe one of the points probably worth capturing at either level is kind of what those, I guess, policies are. Like, it's activity after this, or if you haven't but you've commented, I guess maybe to Michael's point, if there's a way to articulate that kind of threshold or criteria, then it can at least be done manually until it's automated or something like that. But at least that is transparent, so everyone knows, like, oh, I'm not here anymore or something. I guess I'm not sure how far along you are in that part of the discussion, or if it's relevant, but because I know that a lot of people chime in,
yeah, a lot of people chime in, and I think we should really do it based on like who's actually showing up and doing work.
Is it all? I mean, I guess you might know pretty well. I mean, I guess, can most activity to a repo, like comments, issues, like, I guess whatever criteria would make sense, I'm sure we can get out of like the REST or the API or something like that.
Only the last GitHub only keeps either the last 300. Well, if you're checking a repo, you can figure it out. But you cannot check a user as easily. You have to cache all of their interactions or use something like gharchive. GitHub only stores the last 300 actions or events per user, or the last 90 days, whichever is smaller. So most people who are active are going to be hitting the 300 before they hit the 90 days.
Right. So would the repo be the best snapshot of?
Yeah, you probably want to check the repo, and then honestly, the way I do it is I'd look at the team, make sure the team has control of all of the repos that are relevant. So like, package maintenance team should have package maintenance repo as something in their scope. And then if someone is active in that repo or any of the repos that team owns, iterate over those repos and then check their activity in that. Is how I would do it, at least.
I think if we have some tooling support, like it might drive some other things. Like there's a number of people I can see who are chiming in, who are like, well, I don't come to the meetings, but I am listening and following. So like I could see that driving, like, okay, we could have like members and observers, right? Where members actually get access to be able to do things in the repo, but then we have another set of observers who are really just watching, and we could set up the team so that they could still get notified and see what's happening, if you know what I mean. But before we go there, I think we'd want I guess all to say is like, we could set up some automation that might move people out of the members. And I could see in some cases that we might want to move them to somewhere else versus just completely out. Based on what the input is into some of the responses, right? Like, hey, I'm not that, I do watch it versus being active there. And
yeah, because I mean, there are, like, you can use like the watch tab if you want to just know what every issue is, even if you
Right.
don't want to feel obligated to show up to every
Or we can
meeting.
just document how they can achieve that goal.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Like I just saw something, people saying, hey, I'm not, I still do watch it, but blah, right? And so
Mhm.
if we have an alternative way documented, that's maybe just as good too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a really good yeah, because I think in general, surfacing the various ways that GitHub allows you to selectively stay informed of a repo. So it's not just like a giant fire hose. It's like, oh, I just want issues or I just want discussions. Also, maybe gives people a little more sense of sustainability, that it's like, I'm not going to get flooded with everything if all I care about is, new issues. So it can be just a general knowledge surfacing. But I think, yeah, does that issue capture the specific criteria at least we're evaluating, or is that something that is that something this team can set outside of the org and then adopt the org later on?
In this case, we were just doing an initial pass, and anybody who says they're still interested, we're
Right. It was just a
right.
first come, first serve kind of thing.
It's kind of if there's no response,
Mm-hmm.
we assume no activity. I think, I know Jordan had mentioned that like maybe we should do another pass, which is more activity driven or something, but that one, like if the work that Tierney mentions happens is going to happen soon enough, we might just choose to adopt that, right?
Yeah.
But I think this first pass is a good thing to finish off.
Yeah, I agree.
So when did it open? So has it been like 30, 60, 90 days? Do we want to give it
I just commented on the issue. Like I posted it, but I think I've missed post. Like I didn't post it in a way that would have gotten everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So Emmanuel posted again 2 weeks ago as of tomorrow. So I posted in the issue that I think, given that it's been 2 weeks since he's did that, we could move on to the next step now. As of tomorrow, it's been 2 weeks. We can move on to like anybody who hasn't responded, we'll move to emeritus. And, then we can see where we're at.
Got it. Okay.
So hopefully we're getting close to being able to say we've done this step, right?
Oh, I see you linked the actual, like, okay.
Yeah, and I added that one just so that we can get to it easily the next time.
Cool.
Anything more we should talk about on that one?
Do we want to? Yeah, never mind. I'm good.
Okay, the next one is status update and next steps for PKGS Create. That I don't think there's anything new that I've heard of. I know Darcy, we discussed a little bit last week. Still of interest, just not unlocked any cycles yet.
One thing I would like to maybe recommend is, given all of the interest that all of those people seemingly have, I'd love to see them. I'd love to see us try to push them to contribute to the PKG, repos, since it seems like there's about 6 people who are active in those in total. I'd love to see, given that there's like 500 people, or at least it seems like 500 people who responded to that. I'd love to see if we can get get some more hands on the PKG.
One more set of hands, or whichever way.
Yeah, literally more, right? It's just there's very few people.
Right. So. Are you back to the membership review?
Yeah, I am.
Right.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. So basically once complete, I'm just going to take this in a minute. Once complete, we should encourage those who were still interested to get involved there, right?
Yeah, and I think perhaps in a next pass we can, maybe a pass or two down the line on this, we can start saying like, hey, let's have this be people who are actively contributing to
Sure.
PKGJS and the package maintenance group. I think that's a reasonable thing to have the team be scoped to.
Yeah, I think
And
that's
hopefully
like,
that would encourage more interaction. If
Yep.
people are wanting to show up and participate, cool. Here are the ways to do that.
yeah, no, I think that's a great sort of, this first one was a, let's, there's a large number. So let's see what we
Yes.
can do just in terms of the first pass, and then tight, looking at how you make it even more representative after that makes sense.
Cool.
Okay, I guess, okay, if no update on PKGS Create, the next one is suggested list of modules to get support info. I don't think there's any update on that one either. I leave it on so that eventually I'll do something. The last one was 2FA in CI. I think we did discuss that a little bit last time, but Dominicus, do you remember what if anything we should sort of do as next steps on that one?
I'd have to rewatch the video.
Okay.
No, I think my take on it was that I personally don't have time for that particular bit right now, so I will get back to it at some point. But if somebody can go and review it and make suggestions on what can be updated, I would very much appreciate that. And also, I do know that Neoform has done some pretty cool work with the release action. I think Simone posted at the end. I'm not sure if they have any demos anywhere, but I've seen the demo end to end, and it's pretty cool what they've built from there. I think they will be submitting that to some conferences, but I'm not sure. So maybe I can invite them to give a demo here. But yeah, that if somebody wants to go read through that and maybe make some suggestions on the doc, then that would be great. Yeah.
Right. Do you think we should leave it on the agenda as a reminder, or take it off for now and put it back on once there is? I don't know what people are thinking, what people think.
So I think we picked it up because it's just an open pull request that's been open for a long while.
Yep.
If we figure that maybe we tag it with a date and say this was then, and maybe somebody can update what is now, and we can merge it, I'm happy to do that.
Right.
Closing it, I'm not willing to let it go just yet.
No. I wasn't suggesting a close.
I will reach that point at some point, right?
No, I wasn't suggesting that. It was more the do we want it on? Do we want it as?
So yeah, I think we can take it off the agenda. Yeah.
Okay. That way, I won't ask you until you tell us there's something to be asked, and hopefully we've reminded everybody to go take a look if we can. Okay.
And there is I just created a general activities for this year, kind of Kanban board. So, at least the things that we've been talking about, you could just go to that board and they'll be there. So, it was more like if they fall off the agenda, but we kind of still want a little visibility into what's in progress. So if you're ever looking for it or whatever we've been up to, you can always click on that and kind of see the state of things as well. So we can take things off and not necessarily worry about them falling off into the issue cliff.
Sounds good. So that actually takes us to the end of the things that were tagged for the agenda. Are there other things we should talk about this week?
Yeah, did we ever land on the setup node action, moving it to the node.js org? I know we last emailed myself, Michael, and
let's not right now.
I'm touching on okay, never mind.
We'll just hold on for a private section afterwards.
Yep.
Any other public things we should talk about this week?
Happened a couple of weeks ago, but I'm really excited that there's fetch in Node.js.
Yes.
I'll resist making the meme, but pretty far out. It was meme to death on Twitter, but memes aside, that was pretty excellent.
Yes, very, very excited. And that is something that I think huge credit to the Indici folks, to Ethan Arrowwood, to Ronag, to Mateo, of course. Everyone involved on that side made that happen, and it was really cool to see that go from like a prototype to being implemented in core.
Yeah,
fantastic.
It's good stuff. I'm not sure what version it was, but has JSON modules is in Node.js now, right?
Yes.
I'm not sure if okay. I know I'm late
experimental,
to the party,
I think. Yeah.
Experimental. All right.
Yeah, it was just the newest release that they changed it for the import assertions.
Oh, right. Which version is that? 17?
So it would be whatever the latest 17 is, 17.4 maybe?
16.14, I think.
Oh God, is it 17.14? Are we already up that far? Oh no, okay, 17.4. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else for the public session?
Nope.
Okay. I'm going